The monitor in the corner of Ilara's room glowed green in the darkness, a small red light indicating it was recording. Watching. Always watching. Her parents had installed them for safety, one in the living room, one in the kitchen, one here in her bedroom. So they could check on her from their phones when they were out. So they would know if she needed help. So they would never come home to find her in distress, unable to call for them. Ilara understood. She even appreciated it, most days. Her body had betrayed her from birth, severe cerebral palsy that left her in a semi-reclined wheelchair, her hands curled uselessly upward against her chest. The cameras were a lifeline. But tonight, they were something else entirely. Tonight, they were a window into everything she could never have. It had started 3 months ago, on a mountainside. Her parents had wanted to visit an old church, perched on a hill overlooking the valley. A family outing. A chance for fresh air. Her father had wrestled her wheelchair up the rocky path, determined to include her, to make this normal. But the church steps defeated him. Ancient stone, uneven, too narrow for the chair. He'd tried 3 times, his face red with effort, her mother hovering uselessly. Finally, Ilara caught her mother's eye and blinked once, twice her signal for stop. "I'll wait here," she said. "Fine." Really? They'd hesitated, guilt written on their faces. But she'd insisted, and eventually they'd gone inside, leaving her at the base of the steps, alone with the mountain and the sky. That's when he appeared. A bicycle. Coming down the mountain road, fast and free, the rider leaning into the curves. He pulled up near her, 1 foot on the ground, and pulled off his helmet. Young. Maybe 25. Sweat-damp hair and a grin that seemed to include her in some private joke. "Smoke stop," he said, pulling a crumpled pack from his jersey. "Mind?" She blinked. No one asked her if they could do things. They just did them. "Go ahead." He lit up, leaning against a low wall, and then impossibly he started talking to her like she was anyone. Like she was a person sitting on a bench, not a twisted figure in a wheelchair. "Beautiful up here, isn't it? I do this ride every Sunday. Kill myself on the way up, fly on the way down." He took a drag, exhaled toward the sky. "You from around here?" "No." "Visiting?" "Yet?" "With family." He nodded toward the church. "They inside praying or something?" "Visiting." "Old church." He smiled, and something in Ilara's chest cracked open. It was such a normal smile. Such a regular smile. No pity, no awkwardness, no looking just past her. He saw her. "Well, hope they're quick. Weather's turning." He flicked his cigarette away, pulled his helmet back on. "Take care of yourself, yet." And then he was gone, pedaling down the mountain, and Ilara sat in the sudden silence and knew with the absolute certainty of the young and the desperate that she was in love. His name was Mark. It took her 3 weeks to convince her parents to hire him. She'd found his Facebook profile and started chatting. He talked to her like she was normal. She wanted him to be her caretaker. Her parents had exchanged glances. A young man? Taking care of their daughter? But Ilara was 23, and she had never asked for anything like this before. Never asked for anything at all, really. Mark arrived for an interview, and said yes. He needed work, he explained. He'd been a nursing assistant before, liked the idea of something less institutional. More personal. The first weeks were heaven. He was gentle with her body, learning its quirks without judgment. He talked to her constantly about his rides, about the village gossip, about nothing at all. He played music while he worked, old American rock she'd never heard, and sometimes he'd sing along, off-key and unself-conscious. Ilara stored every moment like treasure. His hands on her arms as he transferred her. His voice saying good night. The way he'd sometimes forget she couldn't answer and ask her opinion on things, then laugh at himself. But he never looked at her the way he'd looked at her on that mountain. The way that said I see you. He looked at her like a patient. A job. A friend, maybe, but nothing more. And then Lena appeared. The first time, Ilara thought she was imagining it. A woman's laugh from the living room, where Mark was supposed to be cleaning the kitchen. She'd rolled herself to the doorway, her chair responded to chin controls and seen them on the couch. Kissing. Just kissing, really. Brief, shy, like teenagers. But Ilara's stomach dropped through the floor. She retreated to her room, heart pounding, and did something she'd never done before. She pulled up the camera feed on her tablet, the living room camera, and watched. They were just sitting now, talking, Mark's arm around the girl. A pretty girl. Normal girl. A girl who could kiss him back properly, who could touch his face with working hands. Ilara watched until they said goodbye at the door. Then she watched the empty couch for another hour, tears sliding down her cheeks where she couldn't wipe them. The second time was worse. A week later. Evening. Her parents were at a dinner in town, wouldn't be back for hours. Mark had put her to bed early, gentle as always, adjusting her pillows, making sure her communication device was within range of her chin. Sleep well, he'd said, and turned out the light. Ilara had closed her eyes. But she hadn't slept. She'd heard silent knocking. Heard Lena's laugh again. Heard the soft thud of the front door closing. The monitor glowed in the corner. She pulled up the feed. They were on the couch. Kissing, closer now, wrapped in each other. The camera caught every angle, every movement. The slow rock of their bodies. And Ilara watched, but something shifted. She wasn't watching anymore. She was there. In her mind, she was Lena. She was the one in his arms, feeling his hands on her skin, his mouth on hers. She was the one he wanted, the one he touched, the one who could give him everything. She imagined his hands sliding under her shirt, except in her imagination, her hands worked. She could touch him back. Could grip his shoulders, run her fingers through his hair, pull him closer. She imagined the weight of him, the heat of him, the way he'd look at her with desire instead of pity. On the screen, their bodies moved together. In her mind, Ilara moved with them. A strange warmth spread through her body, something she had never quite understood before. On the screen, Mark had laid Lena back on the couch. His mouth moved down her neck, her chest. Ilara watched, her own body responding in ways she couldn't control. She wanted to feel something, anything, that belonged only to her. She couldn't use her hands. They lay curled against her chest, useless. Carefully, awkwardly, she shifted onto her belly. The movement took minutes, each shift a labor, her dead weight dragging across the mattress. But she managed. Once on her stomach, she bent her head and caught the edge of the bedsheet in her teeth. The one beneath her. She pulled. And then. The front door exploded inward. On the screen, Mark and Lena flew apart. Not from parents coming home from men. Armed men. Black uniforms. Guns raised. Police. Don't move. Ilara's heart stopped. On the screen, chaos. Lena screaming, scrambling for cover. Marek shirtless, vulnerable, throwing himself in front of her. No. She didn't do anything. The gunshot was loud even through the tablet's tinny speakers. Mark crumpled. Fell. Lay still on the living room floor, blood spreading across his chest, his bare skin, the couch cushions. Lena's screaming went on and on. Ilara watched. Couldn't look away. Watched as they handcuffed Lena, as she sobbed and protested, as someone checked Marek's pulse and shook their head. The camera kept recording. The red light kept blinking. Mark was dead. Dash. They took Lena away. They took the body away. They left the living room empty, the couch stained, the house silent. Ilara lay on her belly, the sheet still bunched beneath her body still humming with that strange warmth she hadn't understood. She stared at the empty screen, at the place where he'd been, at the blood that was already drying. She'd done this. The call to the police, she'd made it. Earlier that evening. She'd used her communication device, to make the call. To report an assault in progress. To report that a woman was being attacked by a man in this house. She'd pretended to be Lena. Pretended to be the girl on the couch. Pretended that what she was watching was an assault instead of what it really was. She'd wanted it to stop. Wanted him to stop wanting someone else. Wanted. She didn't know what she'd wanted. Not this. Never this. But the words she'd typed were clear: he's hurting her. Please come. Please hurry. And they had. Dash. The camera's red light blinked on, unwavering. Still watching. Still recording. Ilara looked at the screen, at the empty couch, at the dark stain that would never come out. Mark was dead because of her. Because she couldn't have him. Because she'd rather destroy him than watch him love someone else. The sheet was still bunched beneath her. She closed her eyes and tried to find her way back to the fantasy, to the place where she was Lena, where his arms were around her, where she was wanted. But all she saw was the gunshot. All she heard was the screaming. All she felt was the cold, empty dark.